this your girl, Shonna Etienne with Intellectual Chocolate, where we have intelligent conversations with brilliant Black minds. And today I have with me Oneka Bady. She is the founder of Oneka Bady Company, and she does a lot of things for people who throw events. I want to talk to you guys about what it takes to be an entrepreneur and the different trials and tribulations an entrepreneur goes through, because that's what Oneka has experienced. And not only has she experienced it, she's going to take us through the journey of how she got to where she's at today. And that it all started with making a decision to quit her job, making a decision to let go of her employer because she knew that she was worth so much more. Her dreams were way bigger than what her employer was ever able to fulfill. So this is going to be a great conversation between Oneka Bady and I. I want you guys just to log on, follow through, and don't worry about it. We're going to be here to answer any questions you're going to have, because I am almost guaranteeing you're going to have questions that you want to ask Oneka. I can promise you that. Before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, theblackbusinessschool.com, where you can find all your financial literacy needs and you can learn how to start and grow your business. If you have not checked out theblackbusinessschool.com, I suggest that you go over there after our broadcast and check it out, because you're going to want to get started, especially after Oneka is going to inspire us to be greater and to live more as entrepreneurs. Oneka, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I know that you're busy, and I know I'm on a time schedule with you, so I'm not going to waste too much time. I want to just hear your story, because I know I've been following you for some time, and I watched your journey. I watched you as an employee, then you transfer into an entrepreneur, and now you're still an entrepreneur, but you're not doing exactly how you just started. So I want you to take us through your journey, if you don't mind.
Okay. I started this entrepreneurial journey back in 2010, and it has definitely been a roller coaster. But one thing I learned was, after a few trial and error, is to never quit. So back in 2010, I was working as a health inspector with the health department, and I was pregnant with my second child, and I did not. When I say when my maternity leave was over, I did not want to go back. And so I began to research things that I can do from home in order to make money. Because prior to that, I had been a paramedic, and everything that I did was in the medical field. So I'm like, well, what can I do from home, in the medical field? And I just couldn't think of anything. So I took to Google, and I began to find out about, telecommuting jobs and remote workers and things like that. And so my very first dip into the entrepreneurial pool was a personal assistant. And I worked with a client for about 2 years. That was my first client. I worked for her for 2 years, and I learned so much. And from there, as a personal assistant, I quickly noticed that I couldn't scale. I couldn't get any bigger than what I was. I was kind of like stuck in this hamster wheel of just working with 1 or 2 people, and my income couldn't grow. So I naturally transitioned into project management. And in the process of doing project management, I also learned that a lot of things you can get pigeonholed and held into one thing, and then that will cause you not to grow either.
Hold on a second. Wait, hold on. I got to go back, because your story is so powerful, because a lot of people that I know, including myself, when we got started in running businesses for ourselves, we were experiencing the same situation you were experiencing. Mm-hmm. Something happened to you. You were pregnant. You was about to give birth. And that's when it came over to you that you cannot go back to your employer. With me, I had an emergency surgery. I had internal bleeding. And as I sat healing, I realized at that time that I could not go back to my employer. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So once that happened, I decided to go into my business on my own, and you too. But you said you started as a personal assistant,
Mm-hmm.
meaning you were helping people do what exactly?
Okay, so this is funny because when I began to express that I was looking for something to do from home, you know, it's so funny how the universe will start giving you
Yes.
clues and start giving you, people will start coming out of the woodworks and giving you ideas. So I happened to mention to my sister, one of my younger sisters, there's 5 of us. So the baby, I mentioned to her that I wanted to work from home. And she said, well, why don't you help Ashley, which is one of my other sisters, because she was a stylist at the time traveling between Texas and New York.
A
Uh,
hairstylist.
Yes, she was a hairstylist traveling between Texas and New York. Now, I know nothing about the hair and beauty industry. In fact, just trying to get her to let me help her, it took me about 2 weeks to convince her that this was possible.
But why do you
So,
think that is? Why do you think? Because I know if with a lot of people have personal assistants for different things, right? And
mhm.
do you think it was a matter of money? Does it? Do you think it had to do with you being related to her? Why do you think she was hesitant to bring you on?
She was hesitant only because she was used to doing everything herself.
Like
So
most
some
entrepreneurs.
can't exactly. So we can't delegate because one, we don't know what to delegate. We don't know how this relationship can work, being that one person is all the way in one location and the other person is in a different location. And it's just relinquishing, you know, control. That's another thing. And so I started off small and I did a few tasks for her that really just relied on the internet, the computer, the phone, and things like that. And before
Like
you know
what?
it,
Like what?
okay, so I was doing social media. At that time, I was managing her social media accounts and I was responding to customer service questions at that time. I was posting on YouTube videos, you know, creating YouTube
Yes.
videos. What else would I do? I was managing her travel because she was traveling between Texas and New York. So I would manage her travel between each state.
Okay, so you
I
was making her life easier.
definitely.
And this is the idea that you feel the universe had gave you while you were deciding not to go back to work. So you were
Absolutely.
told to contact your sister. So the
Hmm.
next question I have, and this is so interesting because I know a lot of people who ask me, do you know how to start, how to get into the virtual assistance industry? And you're
Right.
teaching people right now. So did you have to sell your services to your sister? Like, how did you convince her to hire you and pay you? Because that's your sister.
Right. So I started off, and you know, this is one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs, this is what we do when we start off. We want to start off low because, and we kind of devalue ourselves, I want to say,
Yes.
because we feel as if we don't know enough. So because we don't know enough, we'll price our services so low so that we can just get a client, you
Yeah,
know?
we don't know
And
the art of fee setting.
exactly. And so when I started off with her, I started off about I mean I honestly can say I started off with her at $800 a month. And the reason why I really didn't know how much to charge, I really didn't. But $400 every 2 weeks was something that I was willing to deal with to get my feet wet. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know the hair and beauty industry. I had no idea. So this was really on the job training for me. And once I proved myself to her, my my task grew. She began to feel more comfortable with what I was doing. She knew that I knew what I was doing at this point. Her clients were saying, "Oh, this girl is so pleasant. I love this girl that you're working with." And the more she kept hearing those type of things, she would let loose a little bit more. And so as I began to learn the industry, I began to implement different tools into her business to make her business better and to make my job easier.
See, that's powerful. That's really powerful because even though you're saying, I didn't know what to charge, I only charge $800 a month. But the truth is, some people will have to work for free to even get the experience. And there's nothing wrong with that because you're walking with this idea. You had no idea what to do with it. So you were really getting all the training you need, and to the point where you said you outgrew having one or two clients. Tell us a little bit about how you got there, like saying, I can't keep doing this portion of virtual work.
I noticed that the more I began to work with her.
Is your phone beeping?
Yeah. Facebook is just going off crazy.
Put on silent?
Okay, no problem. If I could do that, I don't know how.
Do you have like swipe it down at the top or something like that?
Oh, yes. Okay, I could do that. I know what you mean.
Yeah, just put it on silent.
All right, got you.
Because I'm here, zoom, zoom. I'm like, what is going on here? That is quite crazy.
So as my task grew and the scope of my work increased, I noticed that I can only handle her and another person, right? And I eventually took on another client, and then I would have project work as well. So I was creating websites on the side, and I was doing a lot of other things to supplement the income that I was getting from the two clients. Mm-hmm. And I was burnt out. When I tell you I was burnt out, I was here, there, and everywhere. And I was like, but the money, I can't, the money is not going up. It's not increasing. But I'm going to tell you, when I realized that this was a viable business was when I was able to pay for a cruise from working from home.
Absolutely.
When I tell you, I was able to pay for a cruise working from my house. That's when I knew I can't go back. I couldn't do it anymore. That's when I was like, I'm set. This is my business. And the name of my business back then was called Right Hand Mrs.
I remember that.
Yes, it was called Right Hand Mrs. back then. And I truly was that right hand for the majority of my clients for years. And I love that name. I still love that name. I still use it. I don't know how to get rid of it because it just speaks to exactly what it is that I was doing at the time.
I can tell you how to still use it effectively and efficiently because, that's what I do. I build systems into someone's business. And the only thing you make is Right Hand Mrs., a service or a program under Oneka Bady company. It just becomes an umbrella. So I can teach you how to grow your business big, but that's not what this is about.
Right.
So you start to do project management, which is the websites and building people's events and stuff like that. What was project management?
Okay, when project management came about, that was my second client that I took on. He was also in the hair and beauty industry, but he was an educator. So as an educator, he was traveling, teaching classes. He was going to trade shows like
I remember on your Instagram. Okay.
Absolutely. And that's crazy how he found me, because he did find me on Instagram. I was trying to host my own workshop, and he was like, the hair and beauty industry needs this. Who is this girl? And he reached out to me on Instagram. He just called me out of nowhere. I never knew who he was. And he happened to be coming, at that time I lived in Dallas, and he happened to be coming to Dallas. And he asked me and it was to the Power Networking Conference. And
Power Networking Conference with George Frazier?
Yes, that.
A lot of people don't know about that, but a lot of people do, but some people don't, and they got to know it, but go ahead.
Mm-hmm. And he invited me there because he was coming into town, and I met him there. And that experience alone was the catalyst to where I am today. And project management just took off from there. So like I said, he was teaching classes around the country. He was going to trade shows. So I was basically managing all of his affairs. So I mean, a class, you have classroom registration, you have check-in, you have to keep track of all of the registrants and disseminating information to the students so that they know, all of the information that's required for them to take the class, or flight information, or, those different types of information that you have to manage. And that was what I noticed, that I love that more than being a personal assistant.
Let's stop there for a second, because this is so powerful. This is so powerful, because what I'm hearing about your journey is you allow the universe to do what it needed to do with you to develop you as an entrepreneur. And what I'm hearing is, even though I had an idea, I was hustling, I was getting money at the moment. While I was getting money, I started to learn about an industry I had no idea about. So as you're learning about this industry, I remember this is some years ago. Now you're posting about hairstylists, and you're posting about people needed to be organized and being on track and keeping a calendar and being more professional so that you can grow your client base. And you're educating hairstylists how to run a better business in the hair industry. And while you're doing this on Instagram and social media. I think I saw it on Facebook too. You're doing this and not knowing that this other person who's in a different area of hair and hair and style industry, they're watching you. They're watching.
You never know who is watching you.
You never know who's watching you. So that's another lesson that you're teaching people who are interested in being entrepreneurs, or people who are new at this entrepreneurial mission. They're forgetting that you have to be on social media.
Yes.
You have to be putting yourself out there, because it is your exposure of who you are that's going to attract people to you. And that's what happened with this person. So when he hired you, what did he hire you for?
Listen, he hired me to do anything and everything that had to do with submitting classes for him to be able to teach at the different shows. When we would go to trade shows, I had to manage the team. So I had to give out job descriptions. I had to make sure his class ran smoothly. I had to make sure he arrived at the classes on time. I was basically like an agent. I was his manager. And it was major, because there was a time when we went to a show and we had 17 people rolling with us. And I was responsible for every last one of them, assigning them to a task to make sure that the show was successful. Enrolling students into his programs throughout the course of the year, like helping him develop programs. I did that as well. So this project management opened a whole nother door. And this one individual, like I said, you just never know. You have to be prepared at all times, because if I would not have answered that call from him, I would never have worked with Les Brown. I would never have worked with Lisa Nichols. I would never have worked with, this is a whole nother door. These people are not even in the hair and beauty industry. This is a whole different industry. These are speakers and coaches and consultants. And he just gave me another industry that I never even thought to even look at. That one connection opened up so many doors, and I can literally call these same people on my phone today. And so you just never know. You just got to keep
know. So what you mentioned was, you're doing this for this guy, you're managing his staff. He doesn't have to think for himself administratively, because you became his administrative brain, and you started to do job descriptions, manage the people, give everybody their schedules, what they were doing. Here's your documentation, here's your this, here's your resources, here's your tools. You get on a flight at this time, I'm gonna meet you down there. You're setting up everything, registration, taking money. Here's what we're doing. And the only thing he has to do is worry about his talents and his skills while he runs his workshops, which is his event. And in the process of doing this, other powerhouse speakers like Lisa Nichols, Les Brown, and several other people I know you have worked with, these people get a blessing of who you are.
Right.
Tell me
Absolutely.
about that. Take us to that journey now. How did they find out who you were? I know he opened that door for you, but how did it get from, okay, all right, who is this person? That's nice, to I need her service?
Right. So there was one particular class he had, which was called a power session. And he had the power session at Bronner Brothers. So he brought those powerhouse speakers to
Tell
Bronner Brothers.
tell people who Bronner Brothers are for those who don't know.
Okay, it's the largest African American hair and beauty trade show there is. They've been in business for about, huh?
Your speakers just changed the sound. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a little muffled, but we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. And so, so it's Bronner Brothers is the largest African American hair and beauty trade show that there is in the world, and they just turned 75 years old, 75 or 70. So, so they've been in business for a very long time, and this particular client brought Les Brown, George Frazier, Jeff Hoffman, the man behind Priceline.com, Linda Clemens. He brought all of these powerhouse speakers to the hair and beauty industry to talk to stylists and barbers and how to grow their businesses. And I was that project manager on that particular event. And
That is beautiful.
and that's when they were able to see my work up close and personal. And that's when I was able to sign on Les Brown as a client as a result of that.
So you signed on Les Brown. And
Right.
at this time, by the time you started to work with Les Brown, is your business now morphing into something different, or is it still right hand misses?
It's still right hand misses at the time. My business morphed into, again, in 2014, by adding technology to the space. So now the Oneka Bady company became an administrative and tech consulting firm. So now I have progressed from being a project manager to a consultant, and all because your knowledge increases. You figure out now that you're worth so much more than what you're putting out to the world, and now you have experiences that you're able to share with others. And so now, instead of constantly doing the work myself,
I can just give my expertise as a consultant and not have to, be burnt out and bankrupt. That's another phrase. I was that for many years.
Burnt out and bankrupt. Somebody to hashtag that. Burnt out and bankrupt. That's what you were.
Absolutely. I was burnt out and bankrupt. That's just the bottom line. And so I quickly added, well, not quickly because it wasn't quick, but I decided to add technology to the mix of my business because, like I mentioned before, I would add certain services to make my job better. And so as I would work with more speakers, consultants, and coaches, I would just pay attention to the things that they needed that they didn't have, and I would create if I could. And so so for instance, I created an Eventbrite alternative. One thing that I heard over and over and over again with people giving events was, I hate Eventbrite. Now, I don't want to say that too many times. I don't want to say that too many times because there's a lot of people that love Eventbrite. But the thing that I heard the most was that you get charged twice. You have the Eventbrite fee, and then you have the PayPal fee, and they just were tired of dishing out fees. And so I created an alternative for that. I also had a client that was hosting a competition, a barber competition. And he told me during our consultation, he told me that they use pen and paper for their judging. And sometimes it takes a lot of time.
Baby,
To come up
this
with the
is
score.
1822.
Right? But the sad part is I still couldn't find a scoring system out there. I created one, and he used it. And now I'm in the process of tweaking that. Yeah.
You
So
gotta package that and sell it.
definitely, I'm on it. I'm on it. I am definitely looking into that. And right now, the way it is, until it gets to where I want it to be, like more refined, I'm able to rent it out, and you can rent it for your event. And when your event is over, I can shut it off. But I'm just like, I want to upgrade the face of it. You know, it just doesn't look good to the eye to want to sell it to the public yet. But once I refine that, definitely look out for it.
So while you're there, while you're doing all these things, you go from being a personal assistant to managing people's projects by traveling with them and getting them organized as their administrator to I don't even know what you call the Les Brown thing, but then you start to add on technology and you
Right.
start to see gaps in service. That's what I hear you
Right.
say. You know, I'm a business person. I'm hearing gaps in services. As you're working with them, you're noticing this has a gap, this has a gap. And as opposed to criticizing them, critiquing them, you're actually supplying the need. You're
Right.
saying, this is a gap.
The solution.
The solution, right? You're bringing a solution. This is a gap in your services. This is what I created. Here's the price tag for that. Let's do this.
Right. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. So let me ask you, are you
even in the midst of all of that, because I know how to do so much, I still couldn't pinpoint, Oneka, what do you do? People would ask me, and they would say all the time, I know you work for yourself, but I still don't know what you do. And that was an Achilles heel for me for so long. I know how to do so much, but when somebody said, what do you do? I started to ramble because I knew how to do so many different things.
You was a jack of all trades and a master of none.
None. Of none. Yes. So, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I got tired of that. You know, I got tired of knowing that I was good and hearing that I was good, but not knowing how to
package it,
express it. Yes, and package it. So in November 2017, we just passed.
Yesterday?
Yes,
November. 2010. 7 years later, you're saying till like yesterday.
Till like yesterday, basically. I'm like, God, I cannot go into 2018 unclear about who I am and what I do and who I serve. I just can't do it anymore. I knew I didn't want to quit. That's why I've evolved and I've tweaked along the way. And that's one thing I want to say. I want to stop there. Just because the beauty about entrepreneurship is if you do something and you don't like it, you have the power to change it. You're not stuck into doing one thing. If it doesn't work for you, then you have the power to change that and to go into another direction.
I like
you have
that.
The power to do that. And as long as you don't quit, that's when you can evolve, because I have evolved from where I was to where I am now.
So pause. You never went back to work. So 2010, you decided you're never going back to work. So you didn't go pick up no side jobs. You weren't teaching. You
that's a lie. Yes, I did. I have to say I did. I did once. And that was because we relocated to Texas from New York. And as soon as I got there, I was pregnant again.
Woo, baby.
Yeah. So now this is my third child. And I'm nervous as all get out, you know, because now we're in a new place, you know, it's not a familiar surroundings. And now you throw on having a baby, right, as soon as you leave. And so I went into panic mode. Yes, I did. But it was very short-lived.
Why was it short-lived? Did it impact your business?
It did impact my business tremendously because I pretty much stopped. But what it taught me was that getting a job wasn't the clear answer. That it wasn't. The job that I was able to get was enough to pay for childcare for my second child. And, I was like, I might as well stay home and make that same money at home and wait for my baby to come. And that's exactly what happened. So
it was a panic mode. You actually panicked. It was more like, here we are. When you say we, who's the we? Who moved to Texas?
My entire family, myself, my husband, and my 2 kids at the time.
Okay, so your nucleus family moved from New York to Texas, so it was panic mode. I can't put all of this on this man. We're in a strange place. We got to do all this stuff. Let me go ahead and get a job. But
right.
You learned that working for someone else takes away time and focus from your business.
Absolutely.
To make nothing.
To make nothing. And I was paying more for childcare than I could have just stayed home and watched my own baby, and continue to do what I was doing. And in fact, my original client, she was in Texas too. So it should have made it easier now that we were in the same place. But, still you thinking you have a new baby, you have everything. So I went into panic mode, but again, that was short-lived too. So I thank God for that experience as well. I don't knock it. It's just part of the peaks and the valleys. But I picked it right back up. And I went on head on with my journey in entrepreneurship.
And I'm sorry to have interrupted you because I wanted to point that out because a lot of people, they fear going into business on their own and they will make up excuses. They'll see your life, they'll see my life, and they'll say, well, they got husbands, they can do it, and not realizing that no matter what, just because we have a partner doesn't mean we don't have struggles. We
right.
know that, financial struggles, especially when you're in a new area, and it's not like you had help, not like you had a whole bunch of family in Texas or anything like that. So sometimes we have to not look at the things that scare us and keep going forward, because if you believe in yourself, you're going to succeed.
Right.
So to get you back on track, you were telling us that you prayed to God and you said, I need to have focus on what my business is. And then
right.
Come November 2017, it hit you.
It totally hit me, but it didn't hit me right away. When I tell you I had to beg God, I was up at 4 a.m. because this was real. You know what I mean? Like, God, I can't go into 2018 doing the same thing I've been doing. It's not working, I need some clarity. I need to know. When you have clarity, you have confidence. You speak a totally different way. And so I just begged and I just prayed. I felt like I was begging. I was like, God, every morning at 4 o'clock, I met God and I said, God, I can't do this. I need your help. And one day I heard him say, get a pen and a paper, write down every client that you've ever worked with over the years. I went all the way back to 2010. And I began to just write names down. And then he said, write down what you did for them. And as I began to write down what I did for them, I began to notice the common thread. Outside of that first original client, I was her personal assistant and she was traveling between Texas and New York. But all of the rest of my clients all were either educators, speakers, coaches, and consultants. That's what they were. Then I said, okay, and I began to look more deeper into what I was doing for them. And they all were hosting their own live events and programs. And I said, well, I'll be. All this time, I've been telling people I create systems and processes. Wrong. I was leading with the wrong thing. Because every time I would say, I build systems and processes for people, well, what does that mean? And then I'd be like, You know, I can't even finish the sentence. I would begin to ramble. But then when I noticed, I said, you know what? I have been an event administrator and consultant for a long time and didn't realize it. I was helping entrepreneurs create live events, extraordinary live events, right? And profitable events. So people come to me now. I'm very clear. People come to me when they want to host extraordinary live events and programs.
Wow. Wow. So it's
I'm that
interesting you
person
said that.
behind the scenes and have been all this time.
It's
But
so great that you said that, because what I am like, and you've known about me as well. So, you know, every once in a while when I get a break in my schedule, I'll put on a workshop or a training. It might be for couples, it might be for business, and I'm helping them. Everyone's like saying, why don't you do this more often? And the truth is, I want to do it more often, but as you can imagine, running a business with a full staff, and I'm the brain, I'm doing a lot, and I'm delegating, you know, positions and stuff for people, and creating programs and stuff. And now that I got my business at a place where even if I don't go in for a week, it still runs.
right,
It still runs. Everything does, because I created the systems, the processes, and the structures for the business to run. And now everyone's saying, do workshops, do programs, do events, do trainings. We need this. We need this. I love when you do this. All my surveys that I get, fives, fours and fives out of five. The five is the highest you can get. Fours and fives, fours and fives. And I said to myself, why don't you do this, Shonna? Why aren't you doing more workshops, more trainings, more events? Because people love this.
right.
It's the time that it takes to do it. And I'm one person, and it took so much out of me to build my business that feeds a lot of employees and their families, that I'm like saying, I know I can do it, but I don't want that wear and tear on my body anymore. And you would be the solution to what I would need in order to do that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's powerful.
And I've been doing it for years, but never thought that that was my niche because I was doing so many things. But like I said from the beginning, I was creating systems for people, or I was creating solutions in the midst of working with them on their events and their programs.
Wow.
So I was leading with the wrong thing, thinking that was what was going to bring me the clients, and that wasn't, because they were totally confused. It's almost like a doctor speaking the wrong jargon to, you know, the family. It's like I was not talking or speaking their language, and I didn't even realize it, and it held me back for so long. So my business has grown over the years because of referrals. It hasn't grown because of marketing, because again, another Achilles heel of mine is if I don't know what I'm saying, I don't say anything, you know? And so I very rarely marketed my business because I didn't know what I wanted to say. I didn't know who I was serving. I didn't know these things. Now that I'm clear, baby,
I love it.
I'm going full steam ahead. So I just want to say that, you know, entrepreneurship has been a journey for me, and I'm finally happy at the place where I am now. It took a while for me to get here, but I'm here. Like what Oprah said, but dear God, no, it wasn't Oprah.
I made me poor, I made me ugly, but thank God I'm free.
God, I'm here.
That's The Color Purple, baby. That's my movie.
Right at the end. That is a classic. But it took me some time to get here, but not giving up is what got me here. And I just thank God for the clarity, because the clarity is what brings confidence. And I just thank God for it.
That's so great. That is, I mean, your story is so powerful, is inspiring, and is motivating for many people who are stuck in that place where, do I hold on to my employer, or do I let my employer go in order for me to fly? And
right.
It's powerful, because I think of like a bird in a cage. and how in order for you to keep that bird from flying away when you open up the cage door, whatever the case is, you clip the wings. You clip the wings. I don't know if people know that, but that's what they do. They go in and get the bird's wings clipped because we don't want them flying all over the place and possibly escaping, or we can't catch them in the house, whatever the case is, so they clip their wings. That's what an employer is to many people with their dreams, right? Mm-hmm. So they have these dreams and their wings hold all these dreams that can take them far to do great things, but the employer is clipping it. Mm-hmm. And that pruning process is like, okay, I'm going to prune you here. This is your skills. This is your talent. This is your creativity. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to keep you down. And you're going to be afraid to fly because you need your benefits. You need your consistent every 2 weeks. You need your time off. You need your vacation time. You need your validation. You need your title. You need these things. It makes you feel good in this world. You need everything that I'm going to give you because without me, you're not going to exist. And the reason why we believe this is because our wings have been clipped.
Right.
Our wings have been clipped. We don't have that creativity, that talent, that confidence, that skill. But when you let go of your employer, you let your wings start to grow and it's carried you. Mm-hmm. Ain't Absolutely. That powerful?
It is very powerful. That's a great analogy. I have to say, that's a great analogy.
That's your story.
Absolutely.
That's my story. Mm-hmm. So that's why I really wanted to bring you on here to encourage somebody to stop allowing your employer to clip your wings.
Wow.
Baby, fly and just let the wind take you because eventually you're going to get stronger.
Right.
And you're going to be able to go longer and you're going to be more strategic. You're going to know when to scoop down, when to move up. You know, it's going to be great and you're not going to suffer. You will survive.
But don't be mad at the process. You understand? Like the process is what got me here. The process is where I gained the experience. The process is where I was connected with so many different people. Don't get me wrong. There were times when I did things for free. You understand? I did a lot of things for free just because, again, I didn't have the experience. So it's like every level that I grew to, I felt that I had to lower myself again because I didn't have enough experience in this area. And so I would do things for free in order to get that, to gain that experience. But baby, I'm trying to tell you again, now that I'm clear, the free events, I'm over it.
Exactly. But you know, there's nothing wrong with that, Oneka, because I have a book club that I do on Facebook Live at Shonna Etienne. Dr. Shonna is the name. Facebook Live every day at 9 p.m. And we read Charlemagne the God's book, Black Privilege. And in his book, he was saying how he did a lot of free work in the radio industry, a lot of internships, a lot of just basically sitting at the feast of people who were doing it so that he can get the experience. He even worked for Wendy Williams for a very long time for free. So he had the experience. But look where he's at right now. Now he can command 350,000. Now he commands 70,000, 100,000 just to appear. Now he can command these things because he has proven himself. And people know when they call on him what they're going to get. He's going to serve them and deliver every time. And that's the same with you. People know when they contact the Oneka Bady company, they know what they are going to get all the time because you have proven yourself.
Absolutely.
And with that being said, how can people reach you, Oneka? Because you are a powerhouse right there. Best kept secret, but you're a powerhouse.
I've been told I'm the best kept secret for a long time. I need to get my secret out there, girl. But right now, my website is onekabady.com. It does not reflect everything that we've even talked about in this conversation.
Because you just found out in November, girl. You just found out in November.
So that needs to reflect not even a new space, but it needs to reflect the space that I'm in. It's not even new. It's just reflecting the space that I'm in. And that's what I need to do for the website. But you can reach me there at onekabady.com.
And how do you spell that? Yeah.
O, N as in Nancy, EKA, B as in boy, A, D as in David, onekabady.com. So that's onekabady.com. All of my social media handles, my name, Oneka Bady. My email address is info@onekabady.com. And my phone number is 347-494-0695. Again, 347-494-0695.
So that is Oneka Bady, ONEKABADY.com. OnekaBady.com. You can find her on Instagram. You can find her on Twitter. You can find her on Facebook. I think Homegirl even has Periscope. I don't know who uses that anymore, but you can find Oneka Bady.
I'm not even on there no more, so don't even say it.
I think I used to follow you on Periscope, and then Facebook murdered them.
Yes, you did.
This was a great interview. I thank you so much for being a part of Intellectual Chocolate, where we have intelligent conversations with brilliant Black minds. You are awesome. I want to thank the blackbusinessschool.com for making it possible for us to reach out to people like Oneka Bady so that we can show people what it is to be in business. At the blackbusinessschool.com, you can learn everything you need to know to start and grow your business, as well as everything you need to know financially to raise your financial IQ. I want to thank you so much. If you know anybody, Oneka Bady, or if any of you guys listening knows anyone who wants to be a guest on Intellectual Chocolate, please tell them to visit intellectualchocolate.com, sign up. You can request me personally, or you can use any one of our staff. We are all excellent in our own right. I thank you so much for being a part of us, Oneka. I thank you so much for all our listeners. And next time, I hope we can do this again when you're telling us more juicy information that can get us started in business.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
Absolutely. Have a great one.
Thank you. You too.